Thank you. And now would you please rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance?
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Thank you. And now I will read our mission statement. The Waterloo schools will set the standard for urban education by ensuring that every student is given the comprehensive support and diverse experiences needed to graduate with a diploma and a plan. The next item on our agenda is information from individuals and delegations. This is an opportunity where those who wish to address the school board may do so. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Mrs. Arndorfer will hold up a yellow card when you have 30 seconds remaining and a red card when your time has expired. At that time, I will ask you to conclude your public remarks. Please also keep your comments respectful and constructive. We're all here with the goal of trying to help our students. Please also avoid criticizing the job performance of specific employees of the school district. Personnel matters are confidential and must be handled through the proper channels and not in a public forum. Finally, we provide this as an opportunity for public comments, but it is generally not a back and forth conversation. We will try to answer questions before or after the meeting, but we have to proceed with our board meeting agenda items. With that, I invite anyone who wishes to address the board to come forward and start by stating your name and home address, and make sure the green light is on.
My name is Blake Smith. My address is 3012 Kennedy Lane, 50701. I'm here today concerning Bill HF 782, which has passed not too long ago in our Congress, state Congress, and this is the bill which bans use of phones during, as the bill puts it, instructional time in classrooms. Now, I know that there are a lot of students who are unhappy about this, and to an extent I can understand, but I also understand the importance of the attention of students towards their classrooms. Now, when it comes to different school boards implementing this bill, for ours specifically, I'm here on behalf of the idea that instructional time, again, as the bill puts it, is defined not as merely a class period, but rather can be regarded as a specific time of learning during a class period. Now, this is not to, cause havoc with students who continue to use their phones and don't listen to the law, but I do believe that instruction time should be discerned by the teacher of a classroom. This not only is because of phones being able to be used as instruments at time for the classroom. I've seen this done before, but also there usually does come a time, at least in some classes, when there is extra time left, and I have seen that teachers have allowed students to use their phones for whatever that may be. So I do believe that this should be up to the teacher, and I also do believe that this will ensure that, because if we ban it entirely, then I know that students are going to cause an uproar, but I do believe that, again, that this should be discerned by the teacher, but also I come here in regards to what the National Institute of Health has said on music. I've done it. Multiple other kids have done it. During a time of doing schoolwork after the teacher has already said something, or given that a teacher allows it while they are teaching, students have been able to listen to music, and referring to the National Institute of Health, this has been shown to improve the retention of knowledge gained while studying and while doing work. And this is not only for mere high school students, middle school students, but this is just a general psychological truth. And that is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening?
Good evening. Carol Luce, 545 Sheridan Road. I'm here as the director of the Waterloo Youth City Council. 2 members of our council came to this meeting to show their support and give their support in helping with this new policy. They do have some questions and concerns, which they will share with Pam at another time. But I want you to know that these students, your students, want to help you with this policy in a very proactive approach. So please use their voices and involve them in the process. Thank you. Pam, can I forward the information to you?
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Luce. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening?
Can we have the name of the others? You can
It's Naima Haynes. Blake is a junior, rising senior at West, and Naima's a rising senior at East. Yes, absolutely. I know because we've been emailing back and forth all day. So seeing none others, we'll move on. And that was just for information only. The next item on our agenda, item 6, is a cooperative sponsorship agreement. Application forms for both the Iowa High School Athletic Association boys and the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union girls previously required the signatures of the superintendent and the board president from the requesting school and the host school. On March 8, 1999, the board authorized the superintendent to enter into participation agreements with other districts. Since that time, Iowa High School Athletic Association boys has not required the board approval for renewals because of the previous board action. The IHSGAU girls has accepted both initials and renewal agreements with only the superintendent's signature.
Did East not continue to have their own women's wrestling?
That was, I'm not sure. I think it was just for the numbers that they did combine with West. So I'm not sure what the numbers will be for this year, but that's a good question. We can reach out to either Coach Watson or Mr. Moses at East. And this is just a cooperative sponsorship agreement. And the requesting schools are Dunkerton School. The host school will be East High for girls bowling, boys bowling, and boys soccer. Requesting school Dunkerton for girls soccer and girls tennis will be West High, will be the host school. Wapsie Valley for boys swimming, host school will be West High. Waterloo East High for girls soccer, girls swimming, girls tennis, boys tennis, girls wrestling will be West High. That's our answer. So it looks like they're going to, yes, looks like East is combining with West this year as well. Hudson, girls bowling, boys bowling for West High will be the host school. Union, girls swimming, boys bowling, boys swimming, girls bowling, West High will be the host school. Columbus Catholic, boys swimming, girls swimming, West High will be the host school. Don Bosco for girls swimming and boys swimming, West High will be the host school. And this is all for information only. The next item on our agenda is board policy changes, second reading. It's the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the following policies: student use of personal electronic devices and student use of personal electronic devices reg. The following policies have been reviewed by the district leadership team and the policy review committee and are being presented for second reading. The policies were presented for first reading on June 9th, 2025. Number title 503.09, student use personal electronic devices. Item number 503.09 R1, student use of personal electronic devices regulation. Can we get a motion to put those on the table? Okay, and our own Pam Arndorfer here is here to answer any questions if we have any. On
Should
this
we go
policy.
through them, Pam, just since we're voting to put them in now? Should we just kind of go through it, or do we not need to?
You want to go through and read the whole thing?
It's up to y'all.
Oh, I guess it would be up to me. I wouldn't want to read the whole thing. This has been and I could probably give a little bit of explanation. Then Pam, you jump in. This is regarding the cell phone, personal electronic device cell phone policy that we already had in place, and there's been some state legislation that's mandating all schools in the state of Iowa to, if you didn't have a current cell phone policy, to get one in place. And we did have our policy review meeting in our first reading. We did have students from the Waterloo Community Schools sit in on those policy review meetings regarding the cell phone policy.
Yeah, the Youth City Council.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. No, thank you. Thank you for taking time out to arrange that. I'm not sure if there are specific questions.
Well, can we maybe just address what was brought up, which is what is being defined as instructional time? Because I think that's where the most clarification lies, and that would be in the reg, right?
So the actual policy states instructional time for high school are the periods of classroom instruction from the beginning of the class bell to the end of the class bell, and it does not include lunch and passing periods. So when you're in a class, phones are put away.
For 9 through 12.
For 9-12 high school students. Yep. Elementary and middle school students is the entire school day is considered instructional time. That's from the time they get to school in the morning to the time that they leave in the afternoon. They are not allowed to have cell phones out during any kind of like free time, any cafeteria lunchtime, anything like that.
And I do think we had some administrators come in talking about like that there'll be lockers again accessible in middle school to make sure that the devices have a place to go. For high school, we had talked a little bit about what that was going to look like as far as, do they keep it with them, or will they go into like pouches? Will they go into classrooms? Is that something that is going to be teacher by teacher, or are we going to have a uniform policy?
Do you want to address that?
Yep. So, Stacy, great question, because we immediately received a request from one of our schools to purchase lockers for the phones to go into. And this is about a month ago, I want to say.
Lockers in the classrooms, you mean, or like what do you mean? I'm
I
sorry.
think they're like places within each classroom.
Okay.
Where phone. So that's yeah, great question. Not big lockers, but small locker type things were. And so that was immediately our question was, to the rest of the high school group, should that be every, and how much local control do we give? And we're still kind of working through that a little bit, quite honestly. I was just going to pull up that email and take a look, because one of the buildings was like, they really wanted to use something like that. The middle school said it really wasn't necessary when we asked them about that. But there's still a little bit of question with the other two high schools, I guess you could say, about whether or not, how much do we say every teacher's got to do that versus just select classrooms. So that's something we're still, I'll be honest, Stacy, we're still kind of working through that. but it's definitely been a hot topic of conversation within those buildings in terms of what the expectations are for where to put the phones.
I would also add that I think much like our dress code policy and the changes that we made with that,
Yeah.
it's kind of a let's watch and see what happens this year. And then we can absolutely make adjustments and changes as needed throughout the year. Much like other policies, you know, we might put a policy into play and within 6 months, it's like, hey, we got to make a change on it. So I think this will be maybe a little bit of a
And that's
adjustable document right now.
And those were my thoughts. I appreciate Mr. Smith. I love that name, by the way. Your comments, really appreciate the time and thought you put into it. Well, very well delivered. I think we're going to have to adjust. I mean, I think that's one thing we embrace as a district is adjusting as we go to make sure we're meeting the needs of the staff and the students. So I definitely think, you know, how is this working? We continue, just like we did dress code. And I think you guys were here for the dress code changes a couple of years ago. And that was a little bit easier for us to do because so many students wanted it, right? But we still kind of monitored throughout the year to see, okay, is what we're doing working? I think the same thing is going to happen with the cell phone discussion as well. So yeah, it's good. But our administrators are pretty clear, like starting out, we'd rather err on the side of being very much strict with it. And strict's not probably not the right word, but tight with the way we follow the policy, because we know we've had a policy in place and at times that hasn't been followed. So,
Well, and that's that was my question is, and Amy, you may, since you do more direct contact, like just kind of how it's kind of gone into teachers for every teacher to kind of have to navigate that themselves rather than having a blanket policy.
Yes. So I do know that some classrooms, some teachers currently have those pockets.
Yeah.
Or the
We'll just
wood-
call them shoe holders. I don't know.
Yeah, shoe holders or the cubby holes.
Right.
That they do, and they do utilize them with the policy that was in place before
With
the
the current-
updated policy.
Okay.
So they've been using them for the last couple of years. So I'm guessing that they purchased those on their own because they had them in their classrooms. I know one teacher that I talked to over the course of the summer made it mandatory for students to put their cell phone, but students will have 2 or 3 cell phones as well.
Right.
So so that was an issue too. So I'm not sure if
Well, and
you
the
know,
reg, that's what I appreciate about the reg is it really does walk through what the steps are now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it probably did before, but this is more like fresh now. And speaking to what Blake had said, something that we did talk to some of the administrators that came to was the kids still have their Chromebooks. And if we can make headphones available for students, they can still utilize time where there's music playing while they do their work. But like they don't have to have their own device in order for them to access those kinds of extra learning aids, I guess, you know?
Yes, I just think the one thing that I want to make sure everyone hears us say, I appreciate the student voice here when we got to go through the policy.
Yes.
The
very
students
much.
had very powerful voices on their own survey data that they had done within their schools to give us feedback of, hey, we want to work with you. We don't want it to feel as a punishment, knowing definitely from the SEL side of things, there's just been a huge influx with anxiety and depression, and then it's linked to social media and phones. And so what we realized going through that process was it is going to take all of us, not only just the schools, right, our parents, our families, but our students working together unitedly to come out and really help us with this epidemic. Because what we heard that day, and I believe Benjamin Ritter was one of the students that had said that at that time, is we need help as well, because it feels as though it's constant access and pressure for students to be on phones, to get the thumbs up and to get the approval. And it becomes an addiction. And we recognize that. We see our adults do that as well. So we had teachers that definitely were expressing concerns that, hey, maybe down the hall, right, like that person is accepting and making sure that the phones are put up, but I can go next door and that's not the same expectation. So you felt as though we were united on wanting to move in the right direction where it didn't feel punitive for kids, but utilizing their voices in conjunction with ours to ensure that we're really helping our kids address this epidemic. So, Stacey, I think there is going to be more and more opportunity. I don't see this as Dr. Smith has already said, that it was not a one and done. It is going to be us at the table coming together to work through this, because I don't think it's going to be easy either, right?
No.
Right. Yeah. So just appreciate the voices and definitely want to double down on what's been already said from the students, because I think they're going to be our biggest vehicle in moving us in a positive direction with phones and social media, et cetera.
And is it Naima? Am I saying that correctly? Naima, you brought up a wonderful point during the session we had, which was avoiding power struggles with teachers and students. And so that with the reg, that's what I'm hoping, if there's uniformity in each building and how this is done, it can avoid those issues from becoming an issue.
Well, I think another suggestion is, Jared, as you mentioned about school, mentioned about little lockers and that kind of thing. Since it's going to be a state law, hopefully we as a district don't put the burden on a teacher to buy the shoehorn or shoe the shoe thing, or be it just something departmental for them to put their things in. And I think I definitely want to second the idea of the power struggle. It was mentioned to me today about the phone policy that they mentioned no phone has caused problems in the class. It was the person causing the problem in the class. Yeah. Well, I'm not, it's not agreement or disagreement. I'm just saying, here goes a student point of view. And you know, there was no judgment on my end, but you know, I twisted my head too about that. So, but I just want to kind of throw that out there because I think this is going to be something that we have to be adjustable to. So, you know, I just wanted just a little suggestion on that.
Okay. Sounds good. Good. So all those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. You don't have to write as much today, huh? Kind of thin. That brings us to the next item on our agenda, our consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda consists of 10 items. Item 1, approval of minutes of the June 9th, 2025 regular board meeting and June 26, 2025 special board meeting. Item 2, personnel appointments and adjustments. Item 3, bills due and payable and bills paid between board meetings. Item 4, contract for services with Success Link for school-based mental health services, Success Street. Item 5, the 28E agreement between Cedar Valley Catholic Schools and Waterloo Community School District. Item 6, Tri-County Child and Family Development Council Incorporated Contracted Service Agreement. Item 7, Educational Service Agreement with Kirkwood Community College. Item 8, Junior Achievement Memorandum of Agreement for the 2025-2026 school year. Item 9, Urban Education Network 2025-2026 membership dues. And item 10, set date of public hearing for sale of excess property at auction. Are there any items that board members want to see removed?
2, 4, 5, and 6, please.
Any others? Okay, 2, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So can we get a motion to put items 1, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on the table?
Second.
So all those in favor of approving items 1, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10 state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carried 4-0. That brings us to item 2. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the personnel items as listed.
Okay, so since Sam's not here, Jared, maybe you can help.
We need a motion to put it on
Oh,
the
I'm
table in
sorry.
a second.
So moved.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Stacey.
So I just had a couple. One of the ones was that we're replacing a building sub. I guess I'm confused. Are we keeping building subs or not?
So if I recall off the top of my head, we are keeping for this year the elementary building subs.
Okay.
However, the secondary building subs were eliminated for this upcoming year.
Okay.
So I'll double check real quick. Where are you looking at in terms of
That's on the very first
Very
little
first
section under
page.
admin support.
admin support? Oh, very first building sub Irving. Yep, that's correct. So elementary school. I just want to make sure I had that correct.
Yeah.
If it was elementary school, yes.
So those are just for this coming school year though, right?
Just for this coming school year. Yep.
Okay. And then there's there's a few more of the paraeducator library assistant positions that have been filled. Do we have them all now? Do you know if that has been completed, if we have those positions all in place yet or no?
I would be guessing. I don't
Okay.
know I don't know for a fact. Okay.
That this fills it out then? Okay. And there's 9, correct? I think it
Don't
was either 8 or
recall the
9,
exact
but I think it's
number.
9. And then there's the 4 librarians and then the 2 high school, but there's 4 like head librarians for K through 8. Do we know yet who is going to be in charge of that program? Amy, I know that you've been kind of throwing that around too. Do we know yet who's going to do it? Like when will curriculum be built and like figuring out who's going to do what?
Yeah, so I can speak a little to that right now. I know that Jen Hartman had been meeting with the elementary side of things and some of that pieces. And I know a few of them I've heard have already reached out to kind of look at that combination of secondary and elementary. I also had an opportunity to meet as well as Dana Hart's camp with Alyssa, who is our media specialist at the high school level. And she has some ideas on how we can bring that team together a little bit.
Okay.
There's nothing down in writing yet, but once Jen is back from vacation, we should have a little bit more of a solidified plan on what that's going to look like. And she's also going to work with the elementary principals to ensure just that supporting of the rotation as well.
So when will these positions be trained? Does that will not happen until the year begins?
The para
The library
positions?
assistants, yeah. Since they'll be the one like running the libraries.
I mean,
On a
we're
day-to-day
guessing at this
basis.
point about what's in the mix. I will say, Stacy, good questions. There's actually been a lot of probably as much as I've seen in terms of the collaborative conversation, in terms of getting the at least librarians together. Now these
Yeah.
are recently named, these positions,
Right.
but there's been a lot of proactive planning for next year that's happened. I meet every other week with Jen, and she's been filling me in, and she's really spoke the praises of those individuals. So while these people are just coming on board and
Right.
their contracts don't start until, right before school starts, I do think there's going to be some
Okay.
proactive planning with that group going into the year. So
Just so they can hit the ground running. It's just,
Yep.
and maybe we can meet later at some point just to kind of go over what it's going to look like a little more.
I do think in some of those situations, I can think of one example right now where there was a para who was supporting one of the elementary libraries who actually now got hired to be that support. So there's
Yeah.
a few situations where the building administrators have been intentional about being able to, the right people are coming to the table and they have some experience in the library and understand some of that. So I can't speak to all of those, but I do know that those are the conversations the building level they're having to ensure that we're taking care of the library and still ensuring access for all too. But yes, we can definitely get together. Okay.
And I just had one other for all the Greenbrier hires. Those are just the programs that had been at the old expo, the old McKinstry, right? I mean, that's just, are they moving? Are these new? They're just change of assignments, right? I mean, it's the same job.
Looks like to me change of location.
Right. That's what I
Moving
mean.
from
It's
the
the
building on Independence to the Greenbrier building.
Okay.
Yep.
Does that sound right? Jared, do you know? I mean, that would make sense.
We're getting, I see, and we got Megan here too. So, you know, there's a list. I'm see what she's asking. There's about a dozen Greenbrier change of assignments. Are those simply just relocations? Okay. For the names I see too, those are expo staff that we had to formally just change their location.
It does look like that is the same list, and I guess I'm looking at Matt O'Brien a little bit. I wasn't quite sure if maybe we had to change coding for location for that purpose, if that's why it's listed in the agenda. I'm seeing Sheena shake her head yes. Does that sound accurate, Matt? Not to have you speak. That's a potentially yes. Thank you. We appreciate you. But yeah, no new hires there, but the majority of those are the ones that are currently located at Expo Indy that will be transitioning to Greenbrier. So I'm wondering if that's just a change in the system to ensure that it accurately represents that.
Okay. I just figured, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? All right. All those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. That brings us to our next item on the agenda, on the consent agenda. Item 3, bills due and payable and oh shoot, you're right. I circled the ones I'm supposed to call off. Excuse me, pardon me. Item 4, contract for services with Success Link for school-based mental health services. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the contract for services between Success Link and Waterloo Community School District for school-based mental health services at a maximum of $450,000 for the 2025-2026 school year. And Stacy, questions?
Yeah, just if there's enough people up here, they can just explain it. So I don't have to ask detailed questions. If you just want to, like the maximum cost, how it's determined, where they're going to be, what services are provided, all the pieces.
Yeah, so I'll start by just giving a very basic overview, but we have the experts here. So they were dying to get up here to the podium. Did you see them run up here? So our mental health school-based services have been in play now for years in Waterloo. Sets us apart from 30 years. 30 years. That's almost longer than I've been alive. It's got to be longer than that. So, it's an innovative way to serve our kids in a setting where they don't have to leave. They don't have to worry about getting to and from appointments. We bring the therapist to them. We service all of our buildings. It is a referral-based program. Rarely do we have to turn students away. And really the goal is just to remove the barriers for mental health services. So Alyssa and Brad and Donna, of course, can speak to anything that I've missed.
Donna first. Okay. The referrals are a counselor or administrator or a parent contact Success Street and request services for their child. They also come in through primary care providers and the ER or the crisis brownstone. So there's various ways. Parents have to consent to treatment, and our engagement rate, I'm proud to say, is 70%. So 70% of the students who are referred, the parents agree, and the student is engaged in services. And the quick turnaround there is probably about 5 days to start services once we get parent permission and paperwork signed, which is all done electronically, and the student begins services. I think I'm excited to say that we're probably the only district around that offers summer programming. So it's 12 months because mental health services, you don't discharge over the summer. Alyssa has some great information and data on that.
Thank you. So our school-based mental health team is about 8 staff members who provide on-site mental health services across all the buildings in Waterloo schools. This last school year, we served 467 students. We provided 5,098 individual therapy sessions. And so 70% of our students that are referred to services with us, as Donna said, go on to access school-based mental health services. We are part of Unity Point Health at Blackhawk Running Mental Health Center. So we're also a part of a larger entity that gets them connected to other services. So it's not only school-based with us. That may be an avenue to other referrals that we are able to connect them to medication prescribers, if that's something the family is interested in. We're also able to refer to our integrated health home program to help them care coordinate and address barriers. We're able to provide referrals to community providers. Maybe we need a University of Iowa evaluation. Maybe we need some BHIS services involved that help come to your home and help support these needs. So not only is it us providing school-based mental health services, but we can also be an avenue to additional mental health services. You'd asked a question about the billing portion of it. So we utilize Waterloo Schools as the payer of last resort. So all of our school-based mental health therapists are able to bill insurances. And so whatever insurance doesn't cover or doesn't pick up, that's the only cost Waterloo Schools will see. And that's how we are able to see a different contract allocation for the same amount of staff this year to be $450,000. Where the same staff were up to $600,000 in our last contract is because we've been able to elevate that blended funding and that shared funding with our insurances. We've got some Cedar Valley United Way grants that we've been able to secure. And so we really look at multiple ways to support the sustainability of a program like this, knowing that we continue to grow and grow and grow and serve students as our team continues to be a part of the district for 30 years.
So the employees then, this is their full-time job.
Yes.
Just with Waterloo Schools, right?
Yep. So we're employed by Unity Point Health, Blackhawk Running Mental Health Center, and contracted to provide that therapy on site.
Do families come in too, or is it just the child? Or?
No, we provide across it. So our school-based team is providing care after school hours. We'll have families come in, parents come in and meet with us during the school day. We do a lot of family sessions. In addition, outside of school, sometimes my team members are often trained in modalities that really elevate the family system and needing parent engagement in order to have success across the needs. If we don't have parents coming on site, this last school year, we did over 1,000 consultations. And so that's us making contacts with parents outside of sessions. That's us calling a medication prescriber and having a conversation about the student's needs. So we are doing more than just in the therapy space. We're collaborating with teachers, we're talking with administrators, we're meeting with school counselors, we're talking with other care providers that are involved, and we're talking to their parents pretty consistently.
Are you guys able to sit in on like IEP and 504 meetings too?
Yes. Yep. With the necessary ROIs, releases of information and permissions from parents and guardians. Absolutely. And we have such a strong partnership at those buildings that we're at every building that we're at, that we get invited to those meetings when we've got student needs that really involve a lot of people at the table working together.
The 5-day turnaround absolutely amazes me because I know in the real world how long it can take.
Absolutely.
To get services.
Yes. Yeah. Once we've got consents to treat, we can get started on services very quickly.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Got something?
Just a quick plug in. I went to Donna and Alyssa and Brad and said, hey, like this is so important to our student body, regardless of our funding woes and the situation that ultimately the state has put us in, or the financial situation that we're in. We have to continue providing services at a high level. We have to be more efficient with the people that we have before we're adding additional people. And they really came through on this. So again, the 600K scenario is now down to 450 at the max we would be spending in this 1-year contract. And that was a lot of innovative thinking and just honestly keeping our kids in mind when it comes to services beyond academics.
I mean, even 600 is a pretty good deal. So the 450, that I appreciate that, you're able to do
Working
that.
really, really hard to be good stewards of the money while also providing high quality services. So
Awesome.
So that 600 to 450 gives our general fund relief.
Yeah,
That's another, I just want to stress to the board, the budget
right.
conversations that we had, and we keep
This
saying
is general
that no,
fund. It's
yeah,
fund,
no,
general
yes.
fund. Okay.
Like no rock goes unturned. We're looking at every program out there. We appreciate you. I mean, Sheena, you said it really well. Like we know how important, you heard the numbers, which
Yeah.
are just mind blowing, how many kids are served and how many sessions are held. But also like, how can we do this efficiently, fiscally responsibly? So I really wish
Without
Lyle
losing
was here to
services.
hear this, that there are other places that we're looking at. So anyways, just really proud of the work that this team has done to continue with those services while also being mindful of our budget constraints.
Definitely. Thank you. Mr. Brad standing there. Do you want to say, I mean, you can't come to a meeting and not say anything.
I know. I can't really.
That's
add
not how
much
that
to it.
works.
Yeah, but so yeah, I started this job in June of '95,
Wow.
and the first thing I did was address the school board. We needed some funding for mental health, and we were awarded $50,000 for one mental health counselor who was split between West, Expo, and then it was Logan Middle School, now Carver. And since that time, in the 31 years now, it's grown to this amazing team here with a staff of, we got about eight mental health counselors full-time, 8.2. So it's been quite a ride, and we so appreciate all the support that the district has been. You've been a terrific partner with us.
You're the 31-year OG.
I'm the 31.
So you've been
Yeah,
as long as Lyle. Wow. Okay.
yeah. So
Thank you
Well,
guys.
thank you.
Yep. We thank you for all your, and don't let Stacy pressure you into talking.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Yeah. Any more questions? All right.
thank you.
All those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carried. Thank you all for your work on that. The next item on our agenda is the next item on our consent agenda. Let me write that in my notes. On our consent agenda is item 5, the 28E agreement between Cedar Valley Catholic Schools and Waterloo Community School District. It is the superintendent's the Board of Education approved it is the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the 28E agreement between Cedar Valley Catholic Schools and Waterloo Community School District to share services of a 1.0 FTE special education teacher for the 2025-2026 school year as presented. Thank you. And, oh, wow.
Here I am.
I got to look up. And we have Megan, Director of Special Education, here to answer any questions for you.
I assume you just want an overview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this was new last year. And this contract came about because we had last year approximately 30 to 35 students served at Cedar Valley Catholic schools with IEPs. So when that happens, we have to figure out a way to deliver their services. That was putting a large amount of pressure on our transportation system to bus all 30 of those students to us for their services.
And those are across all grade levels.
Correct. So last year, Cedar Valley Catholic came to us and presented the idea of, hey, what would that look like if we could potentially provide some services on site at their location? So we ran the numbers, and it was far less money to give share an FTE essentially versus busing all of those students here. So for context, they now have between their preschool, elementary, middle, and high school approximately 50 students with IEPs. We prioritize 15 to 20 students that can be served there. The rest of them either get their special education virtually or they come to us. So each summer it's kind of a puzzle to figure out who's coming and who's going in terms of which students and how they'll be served.
So, okay, I just want to make sure I understand. Like, what services are they? Like, when my daughter, she went to St. Ed's preschool and she had selective mutism. So at that time, AEA came in.
Absolutely. So if they have an AEA service, that is always provided at the private school.
But I know like what's AEA and what's now provided by us is different with
It is.
special ed. So
Yes.
what
Yep.
services are
So if a
provided?
student has like reading, writing, math, behavior, adaptive behavior, those are all things that the public school provides. So or the special ed teacher that we've hired to work there.
So when you say it's 15 to 20, does that mean they're teaching a room or they're going from the different buildings,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. And doing
So-
like pull out?
Correct. Last year, the teacher was shared between Blessed Maria and St. Ed's. This
Okay.
year, they have enough that they just want to keep her at St. Ed's. And two, we're prioritizing that middle school kids can probably get their special education services virtually. So they wanted to prioritize that teacher being with elementary aged kids.
So the virtual though, does this person do the virtual too, or is that done?
No,
by
that's
other-
done through our virtual academy.
Okay. There's a lot of pieces in this puzzle.
It is, yes.
And just to make sure I understand, so who pays then for that salary?
That person is on their salary and benefits payroll, but we reimburse for just the salary.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else I didn't ask that I should know?
That pretty much covers the logistics. Just know that it is a giant puzzle every summer figuring out. And they do a lot of the heavy lifting of like, and they've come a long way in describing that to families of, hey, we can or can't meet your child's needs here. So they have grown exponentially in their conversations with families, and we try to be a good partner too, and honor the family's choice, but also partner in what's the best way to get each kid their services.
No, I appreciate that. To share a little bit, one of my other children went to kindergarten in one of the Catholic schools and needed, they have dysnomia, so they needed a higher level of support, and so
Sure.
they weren't able to meet their time, which we're going to bring them to Waterloo schools anyway.
Sure.
But my point is I'm glad now that
Yeah.
there's kids who can
Yeah.
stay
Definitely.
where they want to be.
Yep.
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.
All right. Any more questions? All those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Megan, for your explanation.
I'm the next one too, so I'm just gonna
Okay.
hang out here.
Well, stay put.
Yep.
The next item on our consent agenda, item 6, the Tri-County Child and Family Development Council Inc. Contracted Service Agreement. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the contract service agreement between Tri-County Child and Family Development Council Incorporated and the Waterloo Community School District for the 2025-2026 school year. And questions?
My only question is there any difference between like the Head Start classrooms and our other pre-K rooms? Like,
Yes. The only difference is they are all 3-year-olds in those two classrooms. So all our other preschool classrooms consist of both 3 and 4-year-olds, but our Head Start exclusive rooms are just 3-year-olds.
is that the only difference?
Yes,
Really?
and the staff are
I mean, like in how
yeah,
it's taught, like,
yes. So Head Start has slightly different criteria for their employees and their teachers. So like we have a special education teacher that kind of ebbs and flows through those classrooms, same as all of our preschool classrooms. The only difference would be in like the staff certification. It just varies minimally into what like Head Start requires and what we require.
is there only one? How many Head Start classrooms are there?
2.
There's 2. Are those
Yes.
both at Lowell?
Yes.
That was my only question.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any more questions?
Any others?
Okay. All those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. That ends our consent agenda items. The next item on our agenda, Item 9 is technology purchase. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the purchase of 60 workstations from Dell at a total cost of $73,291.20. And we have Matt O'Brien here, our Director of Technology, here to give us a little bit more information on this.
Sure, you bet. Good evening. So this is a fairly standard purchase. Even though we're one-to-one, we still have a few computer labs at our high schools, both East and West, as well as WCC. So this is replacing labs at East and West that are almost 6 years old, will be 6 years old this fall and due for replacement. Just want to highlight that we will be using Carl Perkins funding for this. Carl Perkins is, you can think of it as kind of a grant that the DE gives us specifically for CTE, specific CTE purchases. So this particular purchase will have no impact on the general fund.
That's what we like to hear.
What happens to the old ones?
So we will see what they're worth when we actually pull those out of service. So we have a number of vendors that we typically will get quotes from if we no longer need them elsewhere in the district. So oftentimes most computers that we pull out of service, we end up actually using elsewhere within the district. Or we'll use for parts just to keep other district computers alive. That's typically the use of most of our Chromebooks. These desktops, I don't know if they'll actually find a home elsewhere in the district because we're kind of moving away from desktops except in these kind of specialized circumstances for labs. But we will basically, if we no longer have a use for them in the district, then we'll get quotes and see if we can still get some money out of them.
Okay, sounds good. Any more questions? So all those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. Don't leave, Matt. That brings us to item 10 on our agenda. Cybersecurity grant software and services purchase. The superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the purchase of 3-year service of CrowdStrike Falcon from DurSec at a total cost of $185,405. Penetration test services from Howard InfoSite at a total cost of $36,577. And 2 years of firewall support and maintenance from Sterling at a total cost of $129,671.40, with approximately 85% of these costs to be reimbursed from the FCC's cybersecurity pilot program. Slow. All right, we have Matt here again. Any questions on this?
I will say this one is a little more exciting, at least to me, than the last one. We were actually one of 4 districts in the state of Iowa that were awarded this grant. So about a year ago, the FCC allowed schools to apply to participate in a cybersecurity pilot program. Was fairly competitive. We're one of, as I mentioned, 4 districts in the state of Iowa that was invited to participate and were awarded the grant. So the grant has kind of, as many grants do, have a lot of kind of strings attached to it, procedures that we have to follow. One of those is we have to go out for bid and whatnot through the grant, similar to the E-rate program where we have to go out for bid to the E-rate program. This is structured very similarly. So last month we filed several RFPs, and that's what you have before you tonight is the actual results of those RFPs. And if you look in the attachment, we received a whole lot of responses, a whole lot of bids to those RFPs. So took quite a bit of work kind of sifting through those, but are happy with the proposal before you tonight. So I would say the 3 pieces that you have before you will do 2 things. One is they will help us strengthen our our cybersecurity posture. And then secondly, there are some existing programs that will actually be able to roll into this grant, so that, in other words, things that we're currently paying for out of the general fund, that instead we'll be able to get the grant to pay for the vast majority of that cost. So kind of a win-win that we're able to both move the needle, but then also avoid some costs that we had been spending out of the general fund.
What would be the stuff that could move? Is it too hard to explain?
Yeah, so there's three categories of, there's three proposals before you, and two of the three of those are actually items that we have some form of currently, that will actually move into that. So the managed detection and response is one of those, and then the firewall licensing is the second piece of those. We currently have services, not the exact services necessarily that were bid, but we currently have services in both of those categories that when those contracts expire, these new contracts will take over and we'll be able to avoid those costs.
That's so cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was
That's really
exciting.
cool.
Any more questions? Well done, Matt.
Thank you.
Appreciate that as well. Good job. Good job.
Appreciate it.
We don't expect anything different from you. So all those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. Thanks again.
Thank you.
That brings us to the next item on our agenda. Item 11, purchase of Talking Points communication platform. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the purchase of the Talking Points communication platform at a total cost of $61,250 for fiscal year 2026. And we have Emily Frederick, Director of School and Community Relations, here to answer any questions and give us a little bit more information on this as well.
This is incredibly exciting for our district and for our families. Like, I have goosebumps just thinking about it. So this solution is one that several urban districts in Iowa are starting to move towards, and it does a number of things for us. So Talking Points was built as a platform for two-way communication between a parent and a guardian or a teacher, and they've expanded over the years for us to be able to send all sorts of communication. So today, like, I want to give you an example. So today, if I send to our district, all the parents, district contact and guardians, all of the water in town is out and nobody has school tomorrow, right? Only 75% of our families are getting that in their native language right now. Now, I do want to say that's very common in Iowa. We're amongst many a district that can only communicate with approximately that percentage of their families. But we know that if we're talking about achievement and culture and attendance, 100% of our families deserve to have the same communication and in their native language. So this does exactly that. Lowell has used it for 3 years and swears by it. Lincoln piloted it last year with us. We gave a demo to all of our principals and some secretaries that were there about a month ago. 100% of them said, yes, please, let's move forward with this. The other thing that it does, as Stacy, I feel like this is good for you. I mean, you'll get this. Let's say I've got 3 kids in elementary school in the same building, but each teacher uses something different. Somebody might use Class Dojo, somebody might use Seesaw. The school itself might use another platform for their newsletter. So as a parent, you're receiving things or accessing a couple of different apps for all that information. This streamlines everything for the building itself as well. It also contains document translation. So for example, when we send our registration information out, we can send it through here, and then 96% of our families are receiving it in their native language, and the software does the work for us. Today, we've got awesome translators. This won't replace our translators. But today, if we need a PDF translated through our translators, that can take a couple of days to return and get back to us. So the efficiencies that this will create also are time saving, and Saving time is money. A couple of things I know you're going to ask right away. We found these dollars out of our existing school and community relations budget. And so these are not new dollars we're asking the district to spend. When I came on board 2 years ago, our videographer was not in place. Instead of hiring a videographer right away when I started, I wanted to better understand the flow and work of the district and what we needed. After that time came and passed, budget cuts came. So we are no longer going to be able to, at this point in time, hire a videographer, and we're okay with that. So the money that we contracted with for a videographer services last year, we're going to take that money and redirect it to talking points. I feel confident about that. We contracted that videographer last year because we needed a lot of additional support when it came to the high school project and being able to tell our story. We don't have that need as high anymore, and this is just something that is going to have such a positive effect for years to come, down from the individual parent up to how the district communicates. So.
Okay, I'm so excited. I just want because I talked to Jared about this when we were at the leadership retreat, and I sat in on Lowell's table, and they were talking about it. And so I ran over to Jared, and I'm like, "Can we get this for everybody?" And he's like, "I think that we're going to talk about it." So excited.
It's
the two-way communication
yeah.
is what's cool. So not only can like you send me something in my language, I can respond right away. And you understand.
Yeah, I mean, and so think about our attendance secretaries at schools who want to quickly text Tim's parents, "Hey, if you can get Tim here in the next 10 minutes, he won't be absent," and they're getting that right away in their native language. I mean, and when they reply back saying, Jared Smith can send a welcome video to all of our students at the beginning of the year, and that video will be received in the native language that those parents or guardians have chosen. So it's not magical. Matt would tell me it's not magical, but I don't have a brain like Matt, and so I think it's magical the way that it operates and works, and the accessibility it's going to give our families.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's gonna be cool.
Yes. Any more comments, questions?
No, I think that the fact that this addresses equity in ways that we hadn't thought about maybe.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
And even if we did think about it, we have something that can help us with it.
That's right.
Now, so yeah. Well done. Seeing no questions or other comments, all those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda, item 12, Property Casualty and Workers' Compensation Insurance Program. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education approve the quote recommended by the district's finance committee to participate in the IASB safety group plan with a total estimated premium of $1,876,495 as presented. And JT Anderson, our chief CFO, can answer any questions about this and give us a little bit more information on it.
Yeah, certainly. So this is an item you see annually about this time of year, just our property casualty and workers' compensation renewal. At our last finance committee, we had Chris Faraday from PDCM come and speak about some specifics. And when he gave us our initial quote, we were looking at a 16 to 17% increase in the property side of things. And the majority of the increase, everyone is seeing that is due to inflation as well as just the national catastrophes that have happened nationwide, whether it's wildfires, whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes. Those have played a huge impact on the increasing costs of insurance throughout the country. So when we talked to Chris a little bit, is there a way that we can reduce our premium in any way to mitigate some of the increase? And so as a committee, we decided to move our property deductible, which was currently at $50,000 to $100,000, which is not uncommon for an entity our size. We actually asked if we could go higher than $100,000, which we are not with this particular program. But So the recommendation is to continue through the ISB safety group products. We looked at other options. There's really only one other viable option in the state, and it's not really something that would work for Waterloo. So that's why we're recommending this renewal, which ends up being about a 9% increase from last year.
How many districts? I mean, like overall, do like the majority of districts utilize this?
Yeah, I would say 95, probably at least 95% of the schools in Iowa are with the safety group, and maybe 5 are with what's called IPSIP.
All right. Any questions down here? Okay. All those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. I think you're back up, JT. And this is just for information only. Item 13. And JT talked about doing this once a month, giving financial information out. So we'll turn it over to you. And
Yeah, sure. Yeah, honestly, May seems like a lifetime ago. Actually, right now we're in the midst of closing out our fiscal year, so it's kind of a circus, it feels like. So May was, I would say, kind of our last normal operating month of the year. So there's really not anything I would say that's out of the ordinary or anything that I would point out specifically. I would just again say that right now we're closing one year and starting a new year. So we'll start slowly getting final numbers for our fiscal year 2025, and once we have those final numbers, we'll present those to the board at that time.
What would be the main numbers that you'd want us to look at?
In this particular report, and I've said it before, just looking at our PEPL fund and our SAVE fund, the reason the SAVE fund currently has a negative fund balance is, again, we used the general fund to help subsidize some of the initial costs of the high school project. That will turn around in June. Once you see the June financial report, you'll notice that fund is not in the red anymore. PEPL, we've had more PEPL expenditures than we budgeted for the year. So our budget balance is negative, but our overall fund balance is still positive. But those are the two funds that stick out that are in red in this particular report.
so we'll see the June in August, or
So
did we say quarterly or did we say monthly?
I'm trying to present them monthly, but what's unique about the end of a school fiscal year, so by law, we have to keep our books open for 2 months after the fiscal year end. So we won't have final numbers until the end of August. So you probably won't see anything until September that are final. I may present like interim financials that are unaudited just to give you a kind of a glimpse, but again, they won't be final numbers until September 15th.
I knew it was close. I knew.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think we talked about this last year as well.
Yep.
With Jeff. Okay. Any questions on that? All right, and that was just for information only.
I just want to quickly add that I so appreciate JT and him bringing this back to the board on a monthly basis. I think that's really super. It's a practice that we used to do quite regularly, and I just appreciate that coming back forward to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, yep, absolutely. Yeah. All right, and that was just for information only. So I think that ends our action items, and on to the superintendent's report.
Just 3 quick updates here. We actually haven't met since early June, and since then, I think we just finished day 1 of our June retreat. So June retreat was a huge success for us. That's when we set the goals for the upcoming year. You saw those new goals in your strategic plan. I'll just read those really quick here. So when Pam and I met this morning, I'm like, oh, good, we got the new. for me, geeking out, our new one-page strategic plan is in here with our new goals. So for next year, our goals are these. It's those three things. I think Emily mentioned these just a few moments ago. Attendance, our goal is for chronic absenteeism to decrease from 23% to 20%. So we finished the year at 23%, which we were super proud of. Culture, employee satisfaction will increase from 87% to 90%. We were at 90% midway through the year, and then we had some real difficult budget discussions, which may or may not have impacted some perceptions, but we fully expect to get back up to 90% next year in terms of employee satisfaction. And then we talked a lot. We had the brown bag lunches with you guys, talking about ISAP scores, which look amazing. We're going to share those out in the community the next couple months, but specifically in October when we have our brand new State of the District event, which we're going to get the information out there. But you can see the achievement scores. The 58 to 63% is our goal for ELA. 58 to 63% in math, and then 51% to 56% in science. And while on, at a glance, those might seem okay, are those good? How are those looking? As we shared in all those meetings, compared to our UEN peers, we're like really doing well, sitting really well across the state. So we will continue to hit those, but going back to June retreat, we had those goals in place, and then each building came up with how are we going to help the district support those goals. So again, a really good couple days, and we're rolling with that. So we're super just thrilled with the work that's going on in each of our buildings. And thank you. A couple of you had a chance to come and hang and learn a little bit, and we appreciate you coming to those days. Summer Soul Classic Parade was on Saturday. It was a ton of fun. It's a long walk, right? I think it's more than and you're exhausted by the end, but so great to see so many students. It was a new route this year, but so many of our students, not only participated in it, but were actually lined up along the streets there, on East 4th and on, Sumner leading up past Cunningham and everything. So really cool event. Thanks to Purvis and his team for putting that on, and for all the staff who showed up. And finally, I kind of teased this last time, but we're looking at dropout numbers, and they're not official yet. We won't know until the fall exactly what those numbers are, but they're looking outstanding. Lowest we've seen in years. Now we'll see. Some things could change, but we're looking pre-COVID. We're looking probably at the lowest number in at least 5 years in terms of dropout numbers. So we'll see. No, again, always that caveat of we don't know until we get the numbers from the state, but they're looking really, really good, and I'm excited to share those with you when they become official.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. I think we'll start with Director Cox for board comments.
I just want to kind of mention about the fact that had a great time at the retreat there. Like you mentioned, Jared, learned a lot. It was a great time to see how each of the schools interact and how they kind of come through their process and everything. So definitely had a great time. The other thing is just the way things look. The numbers, I think it's a great foundation to start somewhere. And so I think this, as things are kind of being released here about different scores and that kind of thing, I think we as a district need to look at, hey, this is a great benchmark. Yes, we're doing associated with other schools on the better end of things, but we still can keep climbing. And so I definitely like that. I got that from the retreat, that type of mentality. We can keep on climbing. And so appreciate that. And, I'm appreciating we're having a summer academy there with our educational talent search and those middle school kids. And I'm enjoying them. Tiring, but I'm enjoying them.
Thank you, Director Cox. Director Ewing.
Thanks to everybody who puts together this super informative packet, and thanks to everybody who
stepped up to talk today. Thanks for all your time and everything. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ewing. Director Mills.
First, the groundbreaking was so cool, and thank you to everybody who came, and thank you to the rain that made the soil nice and fertile so that everything will be ready to grow. It was just really cool to be part of that and to see all the people that were so excited. I saw she's a West High teacher, and her name's Julie Smith. She's a Spanish teacher at West, and I grew up with her, and just the fact that teachers were interested and wanted to come, and families, it speaks a lot to how important this project is to the community. So thank you to everybody who made it happen. I know there was a lot of work behind it. The little soil take homes were so cute. It's a really neat memento. Thank you to the Waterloo Youth City Council members who both came this evening, and the ones that came during the policy review committee meeting that we had when we were developing the cell phone policy. This kind of collaboration is not only amazing for us, but to see our students step up and want to be part of that. And so that is a segue into, I'm still hoping that we can have a student board member representative before the beginning of this year. I know that part of the issue has been figuring out who that would fall under. Pam does not need more under her. So maybe we could look into the East, West, and Expo student councils, something like that. It's a position that's done at the state level, and the state really does utilize that student, and they express how important it is. And I do think that it would be important for us as well. So if we could maybe circle around to that, I would appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Director Mills. You see, we're kind of shorthanded today, so I appreciate those of you that stuck it out with us and taking time out of your summer, but we got the work done as usual. I just have two things briefly. I did want to read an excerpt from the groundbreaking ceremony. I know I was in between two of the heaviest hitters in Waterloo with our own Mayor Hart and our own mayor of the
Ashley, you did a wonderful job.
our mayor of the school board, Lau. So I do appreciate both of them. But I wanted to read an excerpt because I thought it was important. And it says, "I'm deeply privileged to be a part of what is arguably the largest project in the history of Waterloo, in my opinion. And without question, the most significant project in the long and storied history of the Waterloo Community School District. This project marks an important step forward in providing our students with the resources they need to grow into successful adults. More than that, it represents a bridge between two rich and powerful legacies, a coming together of history, pride, and purpose. This is a moment for our entire community to unite. Whether you're a proud Wallhawk or a dedicated Trojan, I urge you to get behind this project. Let's invest in our students, in our future, and in one another." And I read that, I don't know, I think the rain was coming down a little hard, so not sure if it came out clear as I wanted it to, but since the beginning of this project, I was intrigued. I wanted to see if it was time, if our community was ready for this. And that was my whole goal, and my whole fight was for the community to be able to decide if we were ready, and that we wanted to get behind this and support it. And that happened. I'm optimistic. I know there's some things that we definitely need to work on. And a lot of it is what I put into this very short speech. In order for this project to be as successful as it can be and as we hope for it to be, it's going to be important that we look forward, we move forward, we continue to grow together. And that's been my my worry. I'll be honest. And anybody that knows me, I've been here quite a while. I can't say that I've spent my entire life here, but I've been here for quite a while. And anybody that knows me knows that I love this place dearly. I love all my experiences. I love all the people that have come into my life from this community. But I cross both borders. I'm one of those individuals that, you know, can reach the depths of the inner city of Waterloo, but can also stand proud in a boardroom and talk to individuals that have power and influence. And I think that's one. It's a gift that I don't always say, or you know, I'm not a boastful person. I'm extremely humble, but I'm proud that I can do that and I can be a voice for my community. And when I say my community, I mean my community. I mean from east to west, north to south, from Evansdale to far west, Waterloo as well. So, you know, it's going to be important for us to all come together. No big eyes, little U's. You know, and if it's for our children, and it's for the future of our children, we say schools are 100-year projects, or 70 to 100-year projects. This project will be here long after all of us are not. So with that being said, you know, let's put our best foot forward. Let's put the right people in places, and let's support this project, as it is going to be, in my opinion, the biggest thing that Waterloo's ever seen, because it's dealing directly with students. So I was corrected at the groundbreaking. It was like, this is not it is the biggest project, because we're talking about youth. We're talking about our students, and that's who I'm here for. So I'll get off my little soapbox on that. The other thing is, while we're talking about youth, I want to make a plea to our community. You know, I've been honored and privileged to be a part of youth development for quite some time. I have a nonprofit organization that has been very instrumental in providing mentorship services to young people in our community for going on 20 years, right at 20 years. This is 20th year, actually. And I want to make a plea to parents, grandparents, community members, and to the youth. We've experienced some things that more recently that I don't think any family should have to go through, and it's important that we provide opportunities for our students when we're out of the school day, and look to put them in place to be successful and help benefit them as well. So I want all students and young people to be safe. Be safe, take care of yourself, make positive decisions, and put yourself in a position to be successful. I understand from personal experiences that we don't always make the right decisions. But I do know from experience that it's a lot easier to do the right things and to provide for your family and your community than to do the opposite. And I'll leave it at that. So, is there anything else? All right, seeing nothing else, Lyle isn't here to ask 3 or 4 questions. Stacy asked a bunch of them earlier, so seeing nothing else, can I get a motion to adjourn? John, you're slow. All those in favor, state aye. Any opposed? Chair votes aye. We're adjourned.